to order for October 7th, 2020 for the town of New Windsor. If everyone would rise and join with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's see here. Standing room only tonight. Great turnout. Our meetings are recorded through a cloud. We go by an agenda. Anyone wishing to have something placed on the agenda for discussion by the council and staff should have had it to the town council the previous Wednesday of the month to town hall by 3 o'clock. Anyone wishing to speak will be at residents' concerns later. Just a reminder that if an issue is brought up by a resident, that does not mean the council has to respond because we did not have enough time to investigate the issues. So therefore, that's why it's important to have things on the agenda to Kalina or town hall by 3 o'clock the previous Wednesday. Before we go into the meeting, approval of minutes, I'd like to recognize one of our dedicated face of the town, if you will, the go-between citizens and staff and council and mayor. Also, the person who allows me to be late regularly, or pretty much every quarter with my new town mayor's report for the newsletter. She knows that by now, so, but thank you. Kalina, you really have done a lot in the last 5 years. You know, you replaced Roma, who had done an outstanding job, but you stepped up and have worked with Donna, all the council members, myself, Gary, Frank, and you've been a wonderful addition to the town for the last 5 years. I apologize for not getting this to you on your 5th anniversary. I was hoping that we could do it in person. This is the best we can do right now, but Donna kind of twisted my arm a little bit to do it virtually instead of waiting until we could get back together, because honestly, we don't know when that will be, hopefully sooner than later. But, you know, I'm glad your mom and hopefully your dad's watching, but whoever else might be on there. But on behalf of myself, the council, the staff, and the residents of New Windsor, we thank you for 5 years. And there's a plaque here, if you can read it. I'll read it first. Presented to Kalina Bartosak, 2015-2020, in recognition of 5 years of outstanding service, town of New Windsor. So hopefully you can see that.
Thank you. Yay. Thanks, Neil. I appreciate it.
So I'm going to let Donna and Gary say a few words, and then I'll open it to the council to thank you in their own way, and then give you the floor. So I'm sorry, Gary. Sorry about
Freudian slip there. That's okay.
Yeah.
No, Colleen, I have to echo Mayor's words and just reiterate that, you know, you and Donna together are the glue that holds the office together. You do so much, and for you in a short time, actually, in terms of numbers of hours, but you do a lot for everybody, Public Works included, and now you're starting to take on the water billing role, which you see is you're learning is a lot of fun. And so no, I'd like to thank you personally for everything you've done. I've only been town manager for about 2.5 years, so about half of your tenure there. So, but congratulations and thank you for all the hard work and keep it up.
Thanks, Gary.
Donna, you have the floor.
Gee, where do I start? Like the mayor said, when you came on board to replace Roma, you know, we just needed someone out front, especially who really worked well with greeting the public and could really handle the phone very well. And you certainly have proven yourself in that respect and beyond. Um, she's our newsletter gal, or anything, all the hats that we all wear, can turn them around. So she always is up for the challenge, and I'm training her on the water billing program. She's doing very well with that. She just did her first dry run on the billing. So, right?
If there's any mistakes, my bad.
But anyway, she really does a fine job for the town, and we're glad to have you on board.
Thanks, Donna. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Councilman Paulsgrove.
Kalina, we appreciate your smile and your spirit, and we can appreciate you are a blessing to us to have on the town staff here. Keep up the good work, and we'll go for, let's see, 5 years. Let's go for 20, okay?
What do you? I'll try. Thanks, Ed.
Councilwoman Schultz.
Gotta unmute myself. Kalina, the mayor isn't the only one who sends you things at the last minute, so I appreciate how you tolerate my procrastination as well. And I know how hard it is to deal with the public, so I really appreciate that. You did such a nice job, and nobody ever sees, anything unpleasant. You might complain to us later, but you always do such a good job being a professional and representing the town. So thank you for that. And I think at least 20 more years. You're young. You got time to do that.
That's true. I got 20. I could at least probably do 30.
All right. You heard that. It's recorded.
I know. Thanks, Kim.
Councilman Smith.
Kalina, it's been a pleasure having you here. Every town, I guess, even every business has to have that first line of defense. And knowing that it's your face and your smile and your attitude and your personality that the public faces when they walk in our town hall is very comforting as an elected official, because that can set the tone for how everything goes with dealing with a person and dealing with issues and problems. So we had a beautiful smiling face in there before you. We have a beautiful smiling face in there now. And I think that is also a tribute not only to yourself, but to your predecessor and to the hiring abilities of our staff to pick the right person. Very glad to have you here. Congratulations on 5 years. And I echo everybody's sentiment that hopefully this lasts for a very, very, very long time. Thank you for all you do.
Thanks, Ed.
Councilman Huffman.
Well, Kalina, it's always been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure working with you. I appreciate all that you do for the town. Thank you very much. And only work 30 more years if that's really what you want to do. You pull the plug anytime you're ready.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Councilman Green.
Kalina, congratulations on 5 years, first off. Secondly, you are the glue of community enhancement. I mean, you do a lot for me. You're very timely in answering my emails, and you're my go-between, and I really appreciate that. Also, I'm going to echo the sentiments that everybody has said. It is a comfort for us, particularly us elected officials. You take a lot of heat for us, a lot of complaints, a lot of calls come in, and you handle it well, and you do it with a smile, and we really appreciate that. So, hey, only 25 more years to go. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks, Terry. I appreciate it.
Master Deputy Calusi, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you, Kalina. Congratulations on 5 years. She's also one that helps out with National Night Out quite a bit too. And also with that, I'm also a procrastinator with newsletter articles. So appreciate that. And congratulations on 5 years.
Thanks, Brian.
Michelle. Would you like to say a few words, Michelle?
Yes, I will. I just couldn't find my unmute button. Kalina is great. She's unfailingly gracious when I call. She tolerates me saying things like, I know you sent it to me, but I can't find it. Will you send it to me again? And she always does. She always comes through in a pinch. And I've never one time called and heard her short-tempered or not feeling like talking to me, and that's not all that common. So I really appreciate it, and it's good to have you out there for everybody.
Thanks, Michelle.
Mom or dad like to say anything? Apparently, there we
Oh,
go.
no,
Go
she
ahead, Mom.
unmuted.
I have no idea who they're talking about.
It's you.
Congratulations. Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, I forgot, a couple of things that kind of juggled my mind a little bit when people were saying what you've done. You've been huge. This would have been our 5th musical on the Main this past Saturday. And the organization that you put together for the vendors and worked well with the committee in that day, overseeing everything has been very helpful. It's part of the reason why Music on the Main has been such a great success. And hopefully we can get you busy again next year for next Music on the Main.
Bigger and better.
And I don't know about the others when they're late with their reports, but mine is a failure with email for some reason. Kalina doesn't get my emails. I'm not sure why, but
there's a glitch somewhere.
So Kalina, you have the floor.
Oh my goodness. Oh, where do I start? I appreciate everybody. I didn't know I was appreciated that much. I know, like with Gary, 2.5 years, it went by fast, really. But it's been like with you and Frank, it's been great working with both of you guys. Donna, it's always a pleasure. You teach me a lot. That billing was rough. If anybody complains about their bills, just tell them to come talk to me. Kim, Dave, Terry, Ed, Brian, Michelle, I appreciate you guys. You're great. Everybody gets back to me. Terry, I apologize. Your last email I have not gotten to you about back. I will do that tomorrow. So I forgot, honestly. I was brought up with a positive attitude, and I'm glad that it rubs off on everybody else. And my smile, I might get irritated, but I still keep a smile on my face. I do complain, sometimes, but that's just part of the job, working with the public. So I love it. I love working for the town. I've gotten to know everybody. A lot of residents I've came close to, older ones especially. They all bombard me at the post office. That's why I'm usually gone for more than 5 minutes. But other than that, I appreciate it. It's been a good 5 years, and I hope to continue. So thank you.
Don't you have something to say to your mother and father?
Yes, Mom. I said I was raised with a good attitude.
Yeah, but
I appreciate it, Mom and Dad.
You have
Thank
to
you.
appreciate babysitting for you.
Yeah, babysitting, of course. Thank God for peanut butter sandwiches and Blaze right now. That's what Jace is doing.
Kalina, I can mute them anytime.
You can do that now. That's okay. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
I'm sure the residents would have a lot of positive, kind things to say as well. And I know Wayne would if he was on here. All of our public works guys, I'm sure, have asked you to do a lot of things over the years. And Kalina, you, Gary, Donna, it goes without saying that if there are things that you need to make your job better and more efficient, you need to let us know, and we'll do everything we can. Hopefully that it has been a healthy, friendly work environment that you want to come to work. When you get into small town politics, you do it not for the money, but for the love of your community. And you have proven that in the past 5 years. So thank you again. All right. Approval of the minutes from the September 2nd, town council meeting. Everybody has had copies of those. Do I hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I don't know who got the first, but I'll give a second.
All right, I got Terry. I'd heard him. I didn't hear anybody else, but I'll give you the second. How's that? And just for the record, all 5 council members are present. We vote by a show of hands. Councilman Smith will have to be audio. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the September 2nd, 2020 town council meeting, raise your hand. Councilman Smith. Well, they passed.
Yes, yes, I'm sorry,
Okay.
yes.
5-0, that passes. Mayor's report, if I can pull this up, I think I got them all on here now. All right. September 15th, I had a Zoom meeting with members of the Towson Applied Mathematics Laboratory, AML team for retreat. It was a right good meeting, and I followed up today. And their response was down here at the bottom. They have reached out to a number of faculty members. They are still thinking. I also spoke, or the gentleman spoke with the Applied Research Division. They indicated that they would be able to take on the project if no faculty members step up. And their thoughts are to give them a few more days for the faculty and then proceed with the applied research folks. And what this is about, in case you're not familiar, is we have a lot of capital projects, as we found out in the past month. And we have some reserve. We have anticipated revenue with the water and sewer hookups, and then of course our base rates and usage rates. So what I sent them was our anticipated revenue, our projects, and some other information that they can analyze. And when I feel they'll take this on, they're going to give us a proposal back. So I don't know if it's going to be any cost or not. I'm hoping at the minimum that's a small amount, but this is something that's, I think, is very important for the future of us going forward with a lot of these projects. We want to make sure that everybody is comfortable taking, whether it's a bond or a loan, on these projects before we take them on, especially with the water line replacement and wastewater treatment plant upgrade. So I worked with these folks when I was at Carroll Area Transit System. They did like a 20-year projection of how many buses were going to be needed. They looked at the ridership and the type of ridership, and actually they won an award with it. So one of the things that I brought up during that Zoom meeting was that with there being 157 municipalities in the state of Maryland, there's quite a few that are probably in the same situation of that we are, where we have major capital projects and everybody has a limited amount of resources. So I don't know whether they'll be able to do a formula-based program that could be used throughout the state of Maryland. Other municipalities could use it. That's what, I would like for them to do. I think that would be huge, especially since we're the ones that are starting this. So stay tuned on that. I hope to have something lined up for a retreat in the next month or two. I know it's always hard to get a retreat together, but we'll do something hopefully by the end of the year or 1st of January, February. I should have started out the meeting with a moment of silence, and I'll do that right now. If we could have a moment of silence at the loss of Planning Commission member and resident Dwight Riker, who passed away this last month. Thank you. Dwight is going to be missed on the planning commission as well as within his family and the community. So keep Peggy and Dwight's family in your thoughts and prayers. Today, I voted yes on MML's legislative priority to reinstate municipal highway user revenue, the HUR funding, to pre-recession levels with no sunset on funding. And that was the only issue they had up for a vote. Town Manager Dye is going to talk a little bit more about on the census. They've given us another month. And I emailed Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford to see whether or not he would make another visit to New Windsor via a virtual PSA for the census. We are stuck on 66.60% of response rate. And I have a hard time believing that it hasn't changed because that's been like that for probably 3 or 4 weeks. I would think it would jump at least 1/10 of a point, but it is what it is, but we've got to keep working on that, and we have another month. Contacting on a regular basis Congressman Raskin's chief of staff on the status of the stimulus package, which now seems to be not going to pass until after the election. I'm hoping that they can come together before that so that we can possibly see some revenue benefit from that. And I'm coordinating with Lewis Contractors and Paul Muller, who is working with Snyder Summit to get a set of guidelines for bids on the Dillman Inn Foundation Stabilization Project. With it being a limited amount of money, and you just can't do a square footage type of bidding process. So what we're going to have to probably do is sit down with potential contractors and see what they would do with the grant money that we have, and that's $350,000. Also contacted Jonathan Herman, former mayor of Sykesville, who is very experienced in historical renovations. He has downsized, but I'm hoping that maybe he can give us some guidance on how to proceed on selecting a contractor. Any questions for my report? All righty. Council committees, community enhancement, Councilman Green.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents joining us tonight. As you heard earlier, Kalina, I'm waiting for response from her as far as the changes with the town banner that we talked about last work session and get a quote. So we're waiting on that at this point. And lastly, because I don't have much tonight, is I have been selected to serve on the MML's Hometown Emergency Preparedness Ad Hoc Committee. So we had our first meeting, but unfortunately it was during the daytime hours and I was unable to attend. But we have 5 goals that we're looking at, and I will keep everybody up to date on that as we move forward with that as well.
Thank you. Congratulations. Public Works, Councilman Huffman.
Hi, good evening, everyone. A few things I'd like to talk about, not to take away from the plethora of activities that the Public Works do every month. I'm going to focus in on a couple areas. The last day for yard waste pickup will be 4 November. Leaf pickup is going to start 9 November. So the schedule for leaf pickup is in the latest newsletter that has been mailed out. The Public Works has our leaf machine ready to go. I'm going to slip this in here, hopefully that you'll forget that I said it, but they've also been working on preparing all our snow removal equipment. So we're going to slide right by that. I'm going to talk a little bit about our upcoming bulk trash on October 24th. So first off, I want to thank the Public Works and Town Manager Dye for all the effort they put in to ensure that we could have a bulk trash pickup in the middle of all our pandemic concerns. So they have put together a complete process that will allow us to have a bulk pickup, and appreciate them working so hard on that. As I said, that will be on October 24th from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, or until our dumpsters are filled. All COVID restrictions and safety measures are going to be in place. So a few of the rules, the residents must abide by the state rules regarding COVID-19. Residents are going to be required to stay at least 6 feet apart from our town staff, and they're not to enter any of our town buildings down at the town dump area. Residents must also keep distance from each other while they were down there. The Public Works crew is only going to allow 1 load of bulk trash per household. They're only going to permit 3 vehicles to offload the bulk items at one time. Residents are going to be responsible for unloading their own bulk items into the dumpsters. Public Works will not be able to assist. They're not going to pull your items off your vehicles like they've been able to do in the past. It's just not possible for them to do. They're going to have the total area marked out. Residents will enter the unloading area under the direction of the Public Works, and they're going to exit via the rear, and they're going to have signs posted. Under no circumstances do we want the residents to congregate. I know it's always nice to chat with the Public Works guys while you're down there and see how things are going, but we're not going to be able to do that this time. They're going to be very structured and keep the flow moving to keep everything safe for everyone. So again, I really appreciate them putting all the hard work into doing the bulk trash this time, and Town Manager Dye, thank you for leading that as well. With that said, moving on to the Planning Commission, they did not meet in the month of September. Thank you.
And Councilman Huffman, if you can put something together, you probably have pretty much everything there that you can send me, and I can post on Facebook.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
So that everybody's on the same page, and nothing gets out of hand. I don't think it will, but some are going to want to bring more than 1 vehicle, and it's all depends on what size vehicle they have. I'm sure they're going to probably find a big truck or something, but you know, this is not done in every community. So hopefully people appreciate what we do for that. So thank you, and the Public Works guys, and Gary, thank you for that. Water and Sewer, Councilman Paulsgrove.
Well, good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to thank Wayne Myers, Director of Public Works, for providing us with a written report every month. This is about the third or fourth month that he's done that, and it's very helpful to keep all these items in front of us. So I'll share some of the highlights of those, and the theme tonight seems to be about leaks and the fact that we have several of them repaired. The leaks on the sludge tank have been repaired, and all that work has been completed. There was also a leak on the large pedestal tank out at the water towers out on Row Road, and that was actually repaired for us by Mid-Atlantic Storage Systems at no cost, even though the tank is well out of warranty. It's over 14 years old. And the only cost to us was the rental of a 125-foot aerial lift to get the guys up there to make the repairs, but that's been taken care of. A leak that is yet to be taken care of will be done within the next couple of weeks. During the week of October 21st is a water leak at Main and High Streets. And this is going to impact several residences and businesses in that area. There will be water shut off, hopefully no more than 8 hours. Director Myers has put together a pretty comprehensive plan and notification of those impacted. Byron, I believe you probably were notified on this, I hope. Byron Welker.
Yes.
Okay, so you're aware of that, and you'll make necessary preparations at the fire hall to take care of that. Also, we're working on getting a quote from Mid-Atlantic for the inspection of the tank as part of an ongoing maintenance program. There are a lot of other things that are being taken care of and in the works, but those are kind of the highlights at this point. So again, our appreciation to Wayne and the Public Works staff for all that they do. And we'll look forward to improvements and enhancements. One of the things I failed to mention is the implementation of a new maintenance program. And this is something that Wayne is pretty big on, is doing preventive maintenance and having the right parts on hand and all these kinds of things so that we avoid unnecessary failures and shutdowns and breakdowns, particularly at inconvenient hours. So again, our thanks to Public Works for all that they do.
Especially Ed on the College Avenue and Blue Ridge, now that we have all new valves. And I've talked to Gary about this, that we get on, you know, either whether it's 6 months or annual opening of the valves and making sure that they don't lock up like all the others have over the years. So we definitely need to I think, be testing them or trying them. And then also we need to get on the, I know Wayne has talked about this many times, but we need to test the fire hydrants too, flush them.
Right. Those are on the list.
Yeah. Public safety, Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I just wanted to start off with what I usually do around this time of year. We are starting to change seasons from warm weather to colder weather, which means that a lot of people who have the fireplaces and wood burning stoves will be starting to use that. Be aware that at any given time, birds, squirrels, and other animals can build nests up in those chimneys and those exhaust systems, and that can lead to fires. Also, chimneys should be inspected on a regular basis and cleaned. The creosote that piles up in them can cause chimney fires, which not only puts you and your family at risk, but of course our firefighters who would have to come there and respond to that, puts them at risk, and your neighbors as well. So before you start burning wood in your fireplaces and wood burning stoves, get those things checked. Kind of remind everybody of that every year, because it seems like there comes a point where we start seeing an increase in chimney fires. We don't want to see that, and we certainly don't want to see anybody get hurt. With that being said, on the law enforcement side, there's been some increased thefts from vehicles and some thefts from properties going on. In addition to the political signs, but we're starting to see some thefts around the county. It's believed it's probably juveniles. They're looking for those opportunities, and a lot of times it's our own fault. We leave our vehicles unlocked. Yes, we live in a safe community. We are all lucky for that. We're lucky for the law enforcement efforts that we have in this county, but we make it easy sometimes. We forget that we leave packages in our vehicles. Packages more people are shopping via the internet more than ever, so packages are being dropped off on steps. People are leaving money and cell phones and all kinds of valuables in their cars and leaving their cars unlocked. So be aware of that. We're getting into that season for that as well. And I can't explain the increase in it other than, maybe kids are bored. I don't know. With everything that's going on, it's been a very strange time, obviously. But don't become a victim of that. Lock up your cars, take your valuables in. Make sure that you have lights around your house if you have motion detectors or something like that. Also, keep an eye on your neighborhood. If something doesn't seem right, feel free to give our deputy a call or the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. They are wonderful at being able to come out and just make a quick check through, and sometimes it's all you need. Other than that, I will defer to Brian for his monthly report, and I wish everybody a safe month, and be kind to one another, and don't get caught up in this national crisis that seems to be pulling friends and families apart. Don't allow that to happen. Enjoy the freedoms that we have, that men and women have died to provide for us, and get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Schultz, Economic Development.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, citizens. Just start off by saying, please support our local businesses. Some of them are doing well despite the pandemic, and some of them are really struggling. And there's one business I'm particularly worried about surviving this. So please, please, please patronize our local businesses, especially the restaurants. I think that even though some of them are able to do the increased inside seating, it's a lot of folks are reluctant to eat in restaurants these days. So it's not really, adding up to being back where they used to be. The Carroll County Downtowns group is not actually meeting, but we're doing the coordination of the small business passport by email. We are going to have that program again for those of you who are not familiar with it. It encourages people to shop or dine or patronize in some other way local small businesses, and people get a passport, and if you visit a certain number of businesses and buy something or patronize them in some way within, it starts on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, which is Small Business Saturday, and it usually goes about 10 days. We haven't figured out the details yet. And then after you do that, you mail or drop off your passport at a library or town hall, and you are entered in a drawing to win one of 20 $50 gift certificates that can be used at any of the several hundred businesses that participate. And Carroll County Tourism covers the cost of that. So there's absolutely no cost to the businesses at all. So it's a great way to patronize our local businesses. And because so many things are different this year, we're sort of loosely working with some of the nonprofits in Carroll County, including the Human Services Program, which I sit on the board of representing New Windsor. And they have a couple of fundraisers. There's a gingerbread fundraiser. The Arts Council has a wreath fundraiser, and Shepherd Staff has a tree fundraiser. And we're going to advertise those in the passport too, because to get people to some of the businesses, there's going to be trees, gingerbread houses, and wreaths possibly at some of the businesses. So other ways to support local. So just keep your eyes on the Facebook page. I'll have things on there, and there's also going to be stuff on the Carroll County Downtown's website. And right now, I think we have 6 local businesses that are going to participate in that. So I'm waiting to hear back from 2 of them, but they've all but one of them has done it before. So, and I'm also going to be doing our New Windsor themed wreath again, which I've done for the last 3 years, where I get gift certificates or merchandise from local businesses and or artists, and I contribute it to the Arts Council Festival of Wreaths, and then the money goes to the Arts Council, but it also ends up promoting New Windsor. So I'll be working on that again. And so if anybody has any ideas, I'm always looking for new things to put on. It's not really a wreath. I stick a wreath in a basket with all the stuff, but I'm always looking for new things for that. So if anybody has anything, feel free to contact me.
Thank you. And Kim, information as things are finalized, but on behalf of the Lions Club, I'm co-chairing with Cena a sub sale. And I'm working with one of the restaurants in town to do sub sale. We were looking at a company out of Hanover, and I'm thinking, why aren't we supporting our own local business? And I've approached the restaurant, and they're very interested in, and it might be a limited amount of type of subs, but and most likely, if everything works well, it'll probably be, I think it's November 21st. Is a Saturday for sub pickup, and it'll be picked up. Subs will be picked up. This is the game plan at Mayor on the Square food drive. So hopefully people will bring food for the food drive for the local food pantry at St. Paul and pick up some subs. So this will be, I think, a great way to support one of our local businesses. So if you have an organization that's doing something like that, make sure you think about our own businesses here in New Windsor, that instead of going out of town. Nothing wrong with supporting other municipalities, but I think this will be better for the community and for a local business. So I'll give more information once everything is finalized. Thank you. Committee reports. Community Deputy. Let me get your report up here.
All right. Good evening, everybody. The Sheriff's Office, between the dates of September 1st through September 30th, responded to 46 calls for service within the town limits. Out of those 46 calls for service, only 5 required reports, which were the following. On September 4th, at approximately 9:53 a.m., deputies responded to the 100 block of Church Street in reference to assisting a sick or injured person. Investigation revealed that a 9-month-old accidentally ingested an extinguished cigarette that fell onto the floor. Child was transported to Carroll Hospital Center for additional treatment. Child Protective Services was contacted and advised that they would follow up with the family. Case was closed. On September 6th, at approximately 7:41 a.m., deputies responded to the 300 block of Church Street in reference to a theft. Investigation revealed that unknown suspects stole political signs from the front yard. Case remains open. On September 17th, at approximately 8:10 a.m., deputies responded to the 400 block of Church Street in reference to a theft. Investigation revealed that unknown suspects stole political signs from the front yard. Case remains open. On September 24th, at approximately 12:52 a.m., deputies responded to the 300 block of Church Street in reference to a suicidal subject. Investigation revealed that the victim had thoughts of harming themselves, at which time the victim was taken into custody and transported to the Carroll Hospital Center for additional treatment without incident. Case was closed. On September 30th, at approximately 7:30 p.m., deputies responded to the 300 block, of Lambert Avenue in reference to assisting the fire department with a patient in cardiac arrest. Attempts were made to revive the patient, which yielded negative results, at which time the patient was pronounced deceased. No signs of foul play were observed, and investigation was closed. Other notes: due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the annual National Night Out programs throughout the county were canceled. However, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office and Westminster Police Department has teamed up and will be holding a virtual National Night Out during the week of October 5th, which is this week, till October 9th. Please follow the Sheriff's Office Facebook page for a series of crime prevention tips, and make sure you show us support by hitting that like button. I know that a lot of the videos are being shared on the New Windsor's Facebook page, which is greatly appreciated. Furthermore, residents of New Windsor that have children, there are goodie bags at Town Hall that are available for kids, but they are only available while supplies last. Furthermore, please be mindful that in the very near future, school will be starting. So you'll start seeing school bus traffic traveling our roadways. Please make sure that you stop at a stop at a school bus using their alternating flashing red lights and have their stop signs deployed. If you fail to obey the signs, you could face a $570 fine and have 3 points placed onto your driving record. Lastly, hunting season has officially started, causing wildlife to begin running for cover. Please use caution by slowing down and focusing on the roadways while you're traveling down them. Other than that, that's all I have for this evening.
And Brian, I've shared 3 of those videos. Is that what we're up to right now, or is there another one?
So they're being posted daily. So there was one posted today, so we're up to 4, and we got 4 more left.
All right, I'll take a look at that then.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. West Carroll Rec Council, Megan said there was nothing to report. Fire Chief, let me get your report up here. Here we are, Byron.
Good evening, everybody. Calls for the month of September, we had 20 fire calls and 43 EMS calls. Year to date brings us to 190 fire responses and 423 EMS responses. This week, as would be, is Fire Prevention Week from the 4th to the 10th. This year's theme is serving up fire safety in the kitchen. The Fire Prevention Week 2020 campaign highlights this year's focus on cooking safety and preventing kitchen fires at home. Not that we should let our guard down the other 51 weeks out of the year, but as we move into fall and winter, as Councilman Smith had said, we increase the risk of fires in the home. So be on guard a little more and pay a little more attention to the increased fire risk in your home. Feel free to contact the fire station for any further information on fire safety or obtain a smoke detector if you need one. Furthermore, we will be selling food at local homestead products during their fall events on October 24th from 9 a.m. until, and from October 25th from 10:30 a.m. until. We'll be selling pit beef, pit turkey, pit ham, hot dogs, hamburgers, French fries, and drinks. And Local Homestead Products is donating $1 from every corn maze admission to the fire department. So we thank them for their support also.
Thank you, Chief. Byron, do you have videos that you would like to share on our Facebook page? Feel free to do so, or let Joe know, or someone at the station. More than welcome to post on our Facebook page.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Town managers report. Where are we here? There we are.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I want to start off by thanking Public Works personally. Councilman Paulsgrove touched on it. Councilman Huffman touched on it as well. Alan and Dave have been very busy as usual. A lot of things going on as usual, but they stay on top of things very well. Wayne is the consummate planner. I mean, he is on top of things all the time, always thinking ahead, always looking out for the town and what ways to do things better, to save some money, whatever. I'm very fortunate to have him as director. I'm sure the town staff is the same, feels the same as well. And the residents should be very glad to have a quality person like Wayne running our Public Works department. So I wanted to give them a shout out real quick. Blue Ridge Pump Station upgrade. Meeting is scheduled for this Friday, October 9th, with Bryce Foxwell, GMB, Public Works Director Myers, and Town Manager Dye to go over the preliminary site plan for the pump station upgrade. So GMB has a preliminary design. We're gonna go over that this Friday coming up. So there'll be more to come on that. Town road paving 2020. We had a pre-construction meeting held October the 2nd with CPE Incorporated, Public Works Director Myers, and Town Manager Dye. CPE will mobilize tomorrow morning and start the parking lot for 132 Church Street. CPE will finish the parking lot by Friday at the latest, and start with Mill Drive the week of October 19th. CPE has submitted a preliminary schedule for the rest of the road segments, which will be verified tomorrow once their staff gets on site, and may need to be adjusted somewhat and coordinated with the planned water main leak repairs, which has been discussed a little briefly, and I'll touch on that later in my report as well. Letters were sent to all the residents and businesses providing general information and notification of the paving project. And Public Works will hang door flyers 1 to 3 days prior to each road segment being paved. Press release has been posted on the town website, Facebook page, and bulletin board next to Town Hall. We have secured additional parking for approximately 36 vehicles at the library headquarters parking lot. This lot is located off of High Street, just past Manning Drive, and it's adjacent to the community meeting room where we used to hold our public meetings. And when we get closer to that time, the area will be coned off for town residents parking. I appreciate the coordination with Jason Green and his staff at the county to coordinate and allow us to use some spaces down there during our paving project. Public Works Director Myers has communicated and worked directly with New Windsor Bank and Dr. Uffer's dentist office, among other businesses as well. Access to the bank and dentist office will be from Main Street once the segment of spore line paving starts behind those businesses. We've communicated to CPE that the dentist office is closed on Wednesdays, and they will take advantage of that day to minimize the disruption. So that's going to be, like I say, getting started. We're looking forward to getting some roads paved. CPE has a very good reputation, and so far just in the emails and phone calls with them, getting schedules and coordinating things. They're very well coordinated and professional. So we're looking forward to that. The managed IT services request for proposals update. Decision has been made to go with Maryland IT for our managed IT services. The contract was signed on October 5th. A services agreement will be signed soon. We're working through some revisions on that document. The contract with Maryland IT is a month-to-month contract and will likely start Monday, October 19th or Monday, October 26th. Info Pathways is paid through the month of October, and Town Hall will transition from Info Pathways to Maryland IT by the end of October. Once Maryland IT has Town Hall set up and running, we will discuss the purchase of the tablets for the mayor and council. That was put in as a request through the CARES grant money, and that must be spent by the end of the year. So when we get them on board, we're going to be revisiting that and taking care of that here before the end of the year. Note on plastic bags in recycling. A reminder from Carroll County Recycling Manager and the town's trash service provider, Ecology. Plastic bags are not acceptable in the county's recycling. Plastic bags are considered contamination, and the bags and items in the bags will not be recycled. If a truckload of recycling is deemed contaminated at the county landfill, the entire load will be dumped as trash and charged a tipping fee of $64 a ton, soon to be $65 a ton on January 1st, 2021. Contamination reduces the quality of recycling, increases cost to recycling, and tipping fee costs, which are paid by the municipalities. Plastic bags are still accepted at the supermarkets and grocery stores, usually in the front of the store, a location in the front of the store. This has been touched on before earlier. The water leak repairs at 201 Main Street. Mid-Atlantic Utilities will be doing preliminary work for the water main leak starting October 13th. This preliminary work will take approximately 3 days and to complete, and will include traffic pattern disruptions, excavation, valve installation, and road plating. That preliminary work will not require water shutdown. On October 21st, there will be a planned water shutdown to repair the water main leak. As Councilman Paulsgrove mentioned, the shutdown should take 6 to 8 hours if the repair goes smoothly, which we're hoping that it does. The water main repair work will be below the bank entrance at the intersection, or towards the intersection of Main Street and High Street. Bank customers will likely be restricted to entering the parking lot via left turn from Main Street, Maryland 31, and right turn exiting on the Main Street, Maryland 31. The parking spaces, the couple parking spaces in front of the bank will not be available during the repair work, because that's where the contractor is going to be staging their equipment and doing the repairs towards the intersection. Approximately 11 properties on Main Street and 4 properties on High Street will be without water during the repair work. 3 to 4 fire hydrants will be out of service, and Fire Chief Welker has been notified that through Wayne's email and communication. And then lastly, in my report, the 2020 census, again, this was touched on by the mayor. I received an email at 1:30 today from MML. The Census Bureau announced on October 2nd that the census has been extended back to October 31st. MML provided a Maryland Be Counted flyer that municipalities can use to try to get the word out. As of September 30th, which was the original deadline for census data capture to end, New Windsor remains 3.6% behind the 2010 response rate, which is that 66.6 number that the mayor mentioned. Our 2010 rate was 70.2, and I believe that's the 3.6% difference. Kalina will make copies of the Maryland Be Counted flyer and post around town with businesses and wherever we can on Town Hall and wherever we can get that posted, and hopefully get those numbers up to by the end of the month. And that's all I have for my report. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
And we're still the only municipality in Carroll County that hasn't reached the 2010 percentage. Now, some of that might be a little due to we've grown since in the past 10 years too. So maybe more people have responded. We just haven't had the percentage. So, but we still need to bring it up higher.
Hey, Gary, if you or Kalina can email me scan and email the flyer, I can turn it into a JPEG and put it on Facebook too.
Yep, no problem. I already saved it, and I told Kalina to start. I'll have her start printing it tomorrow, and then I'll have her send you a copy.
Great, thanks.
All right, treasurer's report, Donna. Since I find it here. There we are. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. We finally got our June 2020 highway user money. It was $15,097.95, which made our fiscal year 20 total $70,649.84. It was still under what we had budgeted, which was $70,800, which we were aware that it was going to be less. On our enterprise fund, Nader Summit has taken off, and we've already collected our budgeted 6 units for developers fees for fiscal year 21. So that's great. Anything coming in past that will be wonderful. And the reserve has pulled their final 4 permits. So we will not be getting any more from that. The audit field work was started the week of September 14th and was completed by Thursday of that week. VA is preparing a draft of the fiscal year 20 audit, and that will be sent electronically to the mayor and the town council for review prior to the October work session. And a representative from ZA will be in attendance at the work session in October. We will need to vote on that and approve it so that the deadline for the state of November 1st can be met. We currently have 13 properties for sale. Most of those are new units. And the water billing went out today, this morning. So you should be getting those. As always, we want to work with the residents who need help financially to make arrangements for their payments. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was, Lena, are you still on? Okay. There is a shred day coming up October 31st at the bank parking lot, and I believe the time is 9 to 12, but check your newsletter because that information was in there. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Sure.
Lehigh update, Chad Green said nothing major, but the new Windsor quarry is running smoothly, according to Chad. So, old business, social media policy that has been mailed out to everybody. And I'll pull it up here. Michelle, if you'd like to say a few words.
All right, well, you have what is a very first draft that I put together of a new social media policy. This is frankly a compilation from an awful lot of information that I got from other jurisdictions and from entities like the National League of Cities. I think most of you have most of those things already. Some of the big jurisdictions have much more complex policies, which include, the every department has to go through the IT department to get approved. And since we don't really have departments, we just have people, I didn't think that that was necessary. There are some things that are in italics that I knew needed to be talked about to see how you felt about them. But obviously all of it needs to be talked about to see how you feel about it. And now I'm gonna punt. I mean, this is your policy. So you give me direction. We can go through it all at once. We can, you can tell me what you hate, what you like, and we'll.
Michelle,
take it
I
from
think you
there.
did a great job. Appreciate that. And then also Councilwoman Schultz has
Oh, yeah.
been very active in this too, getting a lot of different policies. One question I had there, I think you can see it's on page 4D, political campaign materials or comments regarding the municipal election in the town. Now, I think that we're not supposed to say, vote for me, whoever you are, but comments regarding a municipal election in town, I'd just like for it to be clarified that we would still be able to post when our town election is, what day and what time.
Good point. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll have to tweak that.
Yeah. And then I put in the website and I forget down the bottom here, it's .gov, but I think even Word still takes it to there, but and then I put in the website and another section, but that was the one that stood out for me. I don't know what else, but we ought to be able to comment and report when our town election is going to be.
Oh, certainly, certainly. It was never my intention to prohibit that. What we don't want is employees, especially, talking about this town election. You got to be careful.
That's in the employee manual as well.
Yeah. And we're going to have to ultimately put another sentence or two in the employee manual that refers to this, once this, in whatever form, is ultimately adopted.
Right.
Michelle, on that same bullet, I don't know how we would address this, but let's say I start my own Facebook page that says vote for Kim Schultz, and then I comment on the election with my page that has that name. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you address that kind of a nuance, but even if I just said, it's great that we're having an election, which isn't an overtly political comment, just the name of my page, vote for Kim Schultz, is political.
Yeah.
So,
and one of the things that I saw in several of the guidance sort of documents was directly to electeds not to use any kind of town site of any sort for their own campaigning. And I don't know about the actual election rules. So I think you could, but statewide election rules are generally not applicable in municipal elections anyway. So even if there is a rule, it's not applicable to you. But I think if you had your own private blog or whatever, you wouldn't need to create a separate one for your campaign. But the goal is to not have people use the town one for their campaign.
Right.
So let's let me look
people
at that.
Might do that. But people might do that. People do that. People do create. A lot of people have a personal page and then they create one for something else.
Yes,
that's great. That's really common. It's not just Facebook. It's Instagram. It's TikTok. Whatever. All of that stuff.
No, but and there's nothing that we can or should do to stop that. But we can have it done on the town sites.
Right. That's the
which
point,
is the goal here. Let me see which section this is in. Yeah, this is the employees guidelines. So we don't want the employees to put on, boy, oh boy, our current council sure is great to work with, and we don't want any of these new bozos elected. So I think that's the thought behind this, but we may need to prune it up a little bit. So I've marked it. I'm happy to if anybody's got ideas of ways to rewrite things, I'm always happy.
I'll think
to
about
see
that
other
one if I
people's
come up with
ideas.
it.
So real quick, I want to make a quick comment. I know we've been talking in depth about either making it a page or keeping it as a group and how that looks. After doing some research, I have looked into it, and even admins of a Facebook group can set the settings to where only the admins can approve comments before they're posted. So you would have a chance to review all materials posted to the group before it's actually posted. You can deny it or allow it. So I think in effort, since our group is already well established, if that's the case and we're able to do that, I think instead of going to the page format and we're able to review contents before it actually hits the group, I think that's our best bet.
Yeah, we can do that. We can change the settings on that.
But you still want it to be considered, what's the phrase, a limited public forum? Is that my understanding? And again, I always say this, I'm not really even embarrassed to not understand how this stuff works. But I think a limited public forum gives you, the town, more latitude to edit and to pull out comments, so long as they are retained, because once they're there, they're a public document that needs to be maintained. But I think you want to preserve that designation. Yeah, limited public forums is the phrase that I see all over the place. So that you can edit them, not to change, to take out, let's vote for the new bozos, but so long as it's content neutral, you can edit it. If somebody starts writing about, the aliens coming to town, you can take that out. I meant space aliens.
Yeah,
I mean undocumented immigrants.
I understand what you're saying, Councilman Green, but again, I've thought about that too. It's definitely a downside to changing, but that's a lot more maintenance. And so we'd have to talk about the logistics of that, because once you start doing stuff like that, you have to keep a record of all that and be able to justify why you decided not to post it or edit it, that kind of thing. So I'm not saying no, I'm just saying we just need to think about how we're going to do that.
No, I agree, because there's going to be a lot of manual hours. I mean, you're going to have to review every post before it's posted as it comes through. So it's a lot of manual hours involved in that.
Yeah, so we can come back to that and think about it a little bit, I guess.
Mr. Mayor, can you go down to the elected officials part of it, please?
Employees?
No, the elected officials.
Yeah, we have nothing about elected officials at all currently in our policy. Some policies.
Yeah, that's what I want to
silent. So that's why I put it in there for you to talk about.
Yep, that's what I wanted to talk about. So I see some of the wording was changed from the one that you sent us with all of it in there. I just wanted to kind of ask this question, and maybe it's a dumb question, but I don't know. But obviously, if you have guidelines and rules and regulations in place for employees, there's consequences for breaking those rules and regulations and guidelines. Where's the teeth in this for elected officials? I mean, I understand that we would be able to keep it off of our town site if elected officials decided that I'm going to post my campaign stuff on the town site. The administrators of our town site could keep that off of there and refer back to this guideline. But if we start putting these rules and regulations in place for officials when it comes to anything other than the town site, what's the ramifications if the council person or elected official decides not to abide by that? There's no teeth in this. There's no recall. There's nothing that the council could do or the mayor could do or anybody could do punitively to the elected official. Am I correct?
Well, there's nothing in here that is punitive to the elected official for that sort of thing. Now, if you all wound up talking on a social media site about an item that should be part of the open meetings issue, then everybody can be in trouble. But I don't
Sure,
think that's what you're talking about, Councilman.
That would be punitive. That would be punitive through a complaint made
Through
to
a
the
different entity.
state level, right?
Yeah.
And and now I see I see this. The other one that you had a lot of other stuff on there, and I see that's been taken out. So yeah, I agree with this. I just don't. If we start getting into what elected officials can post on other sites, like you said, other town sites. Well, what's considered a town site? Is it a town sponsored site, or is it a site that simply says this is for the town of New Windsor?
No, I think it would be a town sponsored site. And if you look at
Okay.
the definition of
Yep.
town social media sites, it
Yep.
says established and maintained by the town and over which the town has control.
Yep. So yeah, so that now that I see that, and yeah, so there would be no reason to have punitive.
Well, I mean, you can't, we don't have recall
Right,
in the
that's what I mean.
charter, so that's not
Right.
even an option.
Yeah,
even
the only
if
thing I
somebody-
see that would be problematic for elected officials is, like you said, if they violate something that could be construed as being a violation of the Open Meeting Act, then that would be a sanctioned state.
That's a real problem.
Yep.
In fact, you'll note that I'm looking at it now. The first one does say should refrain from discussion. I saw
Right.
several that said will, must, that
Yeah,
were much
and I saw
stronger.
that too in your first one, and should is suggestive, as whereas would is restrictive.
Now, we could put should in two, that social media sites should include a link to the town.
Right.
If you're talking to your constituents, if you're talking to somebody about whether you're bringing hot dogs to the party, you don't need a link to the town's website. But I think,
Right.
so that's why that phrase communicate with constituents is important, I think, in there.
Right.
And then the third one really is just what Kim and I were just talking about, that you don't use it through the town technology. Now,
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Okay. Yep, I'm good with it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
well, don't go away because I had a couple of questions for you guys.
Okay.
Let me find what they are. And
What page?
well, I don't have a page number. I have, I'm no help. Under guidelines for employees, number 8 is italicized. If access to personal social media through the town technology is permitted. I don't know, is access to social media through town-owned technology permitted? Can Kalina, since we'll talk about her since she's not here, can she sit at her desk and get on her personal website or her personal social media? She can check her Facebook from the town machinery. That phrase is only in there. That section number 8 is in there and italics because I couldn't answer the question as to whether that was possible for employees to do. If they could access their own personal social media on town machinery. Some places,
I don't know if it's permitted or not, but that would be
Well,
that
we
would be
can
a
make it
variance.
not permitted,
But
but I
it's-
don't know if it's physically possible.
Well, you don't have any choice. You can't use Facebook unless you have a profile. So she'd have to be able to do that. If she's going to be, especially if we changed anything and we gave her some rights to the administration of the page, that's just the way Facebook works. You can't get on Facebook and do things if you don't have a Facebook page.
But
Yeah,
she-
but
so
this is for personal.
Yeah, but she still has to be, when you unless she made up, this is like probably getting too deep in the weeds, but even when you manage a page, like when I manage a professional page, but I have to log into Facebook as myself to do it. That's how it
Yeah.
works.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about somebody as administrator. I'm talking about somebody sitting at their desk like I can at my office.
Mhm.
And I can go into Facebook on what is technically my work computer, my office owned technology.
Right.
So wouldn't that be covered in
Having
the
me
employee? wouldn't that be covered in the employee handbook?
Well,
Isn't that no different than her going on, using the town's computer to go on Amazon and order something?
yeah, and I mean, if I don't care if she does. I just wanted to make sure somebody read that and could help me out as to whether that gets included there or not.
I guess we have to look.
So that's like a Gary or Donna question.
Right.
So
That
here,
or I'm sure she's more than capable of going on her phone and either
Yes.
posting something on Facebook on her personal page or ordering something on Amazon. I mean, I'm really sure she's
Yeah, most
savvy
people
enough
do
to
it
do that.
on their phones nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's possible that there's something very much like this in the personnel manual, and that might suffice, or the employee handbook, as we now call it. All right, well, that's why I wanted to call your attention to that, but keep going down the page, because where it says guidelines for visitors, we encourage you to submit your questions, comments, and concerns. And that's where we get back to the, are we a page or are we a group, and how does it matter? Because do we encourage people to submit their questions, or do we take that sentence out?
I think questions should be submitted to town hall so that way we have a
Yeah.
record of it.
I agree.
I agree. And it's, you know, I mean, people are certain, I mean, there's, I guess comments is different than questions and concerns, you know, I mean, certainly we want to hear what people think, but I try to discourage that as the way to get information, because then that means somebody's looking at it all the time versus the town hall, which has hours and has phone and has staff to answer the phone and the emails, you know. Neil or Kalina or I may or may not be looking at Facebook and see, you know, somebody didn't pick up my yard waste. That's, you know, it's not the best way to share concerns or questions. We just don't have the manpower / staff to do that, you know.
That's one thing I wanted to comment on. And it appears in I think like 2 locations. Back under the social media shall be used for communicating and receiving feedback from town residents and businesses. And then also where just Michelle said, you know, we encourage you to submit questions, comments, or concerns. I think it should be elaborated. I think we should encourage that, but I think it should be spelled out or elaborated to what the town is posting, not just general off the wall comments like you're saying, because we don't have the manpower to sit back and watch this site all day long. It's not, and it's stated in here, I marked it as a good comment, that it's not designed to replace the normal means of picking up the phone and calling the office and doing things that way, but it's just another way to get information to residents. But the comments and suggestions verbiage should be in there to say specifically to what the town is posting on that information that the town's posting.
Well, I think it does, Gary. I think if you go down farther, in visitor guidelines on K, it says that it prohibits statements not related to the matter being commented on. And then farther down there, it also says that they're not formal requests. If you need specific response, call town hall. Can't put in your claims or any other legal forms through this format. So maybe we put that closer to the top, but it is in there.
Okay. I still think it couldn't hurt just to add something very brief in those, you know, we want to get your feedback relative to what we're posting.
What we're talking about. Yeah.
Right.
But also, you know, I understand where everybody's coming from on this, but like the other day, somebody wanted to know if it was okay to bring TVs to bulk trash. Now, if we don't answer that, then it looks like we don't care or we're just not answering. So sometimes I think we need to respond, but maybe in this policy, and I'm not sure everybody's going to read it anyway, but that, you know, questions may not be answered in a timely manner. I think it's already in there somewhere, but you know, something that simple, we could just say, like Kim said, yes, you know, to TVs, rather than, you know, she put on there, you'll have to contact town hall to find out.
Yeah, I'm not saying we don't answer questions. I'm just saying I don't want people to think that should be the go-to place because we're not, I mean, I saw that question and I texted Wayne and he answered me. But if he hadn't answered me, I would, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, I don't want people to get super dependent on it because we can't promise that we're always going to be able to promptly answer questions that way. Whereas if you call town hall during business hours, you probably will get an answer to your question.
Right.
And that is in there. It's a problem. It's a problem, especially for a town your size and with your limited hours. I just had to laugh at the prospect of writing, "That's for us to know and for you to find out." You know, when people ask you questions. But that's just because I've had a long day.
All right.
Kind of a related nuance to that under the section that addresses guidelines for visitors in 3. You said it says you should call town hall. I would just change that to contact.
Okay.
Because email is fine. I think
That's true. That's true. I'm old, so I write call.
Yeah.
Because we do have a feature on there for people to put comments or questions or complaints or something on Facebook or on the website.
Yeah.
Right, and they can also just submit an email for after hours that we'll get, you know, the next day or very soon.
Well, everybody okay with reading this and having it on the work session agenda?
Just one more thing, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Under guidelines, E, you have italicized.
Yeah,
Michelle.
you're not
And-
getting away without answering that one.
Yeah, and
Which
I
one?
think that it's about links or other solicitations of commerce or business activity.
Oh, yeah. Where
So,
was it?
you know, it's E under guidelines for visitors. 1, 2, 3, and then, 1, 2, and then letter E. So, you know, we do, like we said before, we do try to let local businesses promote themselves. So, and that comes back to once we decide page or group, because if it's group people, they can just post their own. And if it's page, then it have to be, we no matter what, but I think that one of the reasons we started to have a Facebook presence was because we did want to promote local businesses as part of it, you know, because we are a small town and, you know, we don't have a lot of businesses and we want them to survive and thrive. So, I think we talked about this before, you know.
Yeah.
I think that that's okay. I don't, you know, what everybody
That
else.
might have to wait until you decide the format.
Yeah, well, we would have to decide whether or not we were gonna post, even if it was a page and somebody emailed it to Kalina or myself or the mayor, we would still have to decide whether or not we were gonna post it. So we would have to have a guideline about that. You know what I mean? Like even if we're the ones in charge of putting it on there, are we gonna allow posts about commercial events? So, I think it's fine. I'd like to know what everybody else thinks.
I actually agree. I think the bigger thing that we have to think about is format and mile radius of what businesses we're going to allow to host.
Oh, you had to
again,
go there, Councilman Green, didn't you?
again, I don't want to exclude Trevor.
I know. I hear you.
How about like vicinity which serves, or a business which serves New Windsor and the vicinity? Because I don't want to have to go out there with a ruler and figure out how far away Trevor Hoff is.
That works for me.
Well, but then there's also, we'll take a look at businesses or organizations that benefit the town or other organizations. And I'll give you an example. Flood Zone had a boat derby, I guess you will, a contest, and Unionbridge and New Windsor fire departments each received $7,000. So I don't have a problem posting something on for Flood Zone. Maybe others do, but when they benefit, you know, the town of New Windsor, now like Trevor, there were some times where, you know, I question that, but the fire department's going out there to serve food, so they're going to benefit, plus $1 from each corn maze entry that's going to come to the fire department. So that's definitely benefiting the town of New Windsor or the fire department. So those type of things, I think, are they exceptions to the rule? You're never going to have a perfect setup or guidelines on distance, zip code, or anything. So I think it's more of a case by case, and I think Kim and I have done pretty decent on that.
Yeah. What I'm thinking is that we take it out of the prohibitions section. And then we see if there's like another way we can put in there some of those things we're just talking about. Providing, in the vicinity, providing assistance and blah, blah, blah to people who live in the community. Because what worries me about keeping it as a prohibition and then letting some people in is when somebody says, well, you let them in and you didn't let me in. So my thought is to delete it from this section of prohibitions and try and tweak the concept and put it somewhere else. How does that sound?
That's a good idea.
Okay.
So can I ask a question on we're letting businesses possibly do it themselves or through us, promote their business. Are we talking about promoting just the fact that they are here and available, or are we talking about the pizza shop saying that they're having a $5 off pizza on Friday night? And then if we do that, are we going to be okay with the liquor store saying that Coors Light is $4 off a case? Where do you draw the line on the promotion of the business?
Yeah, that's a good question, because Frankie's promotes its karaoke night and those kinds of things. That's your call. Haha, that's not mine. But you don't have to decide that now, but that's a big thing you're gonna have to figure out how you want to handle that.
I'll check with some of the other mayors, see on some of these issues, how they handle these things.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at any of the others because I really don't want to join all of those Facebook groups. I got problems enough.
And if I could say one more thing, I think one thing we should take in serious consideration, and I don't know how we would do this, but I see a lot, and well, I'm not gonna say a lot, but quite a few posts of like handyman services that, in my viewpoint, they don't seem to have any real references and or a business license or things of that nature. I don't know if on our page, even if it's someone local, if they don't have a business license or are registered to operate in the state or even locally, should we allow them to post? Because if they produce bad work, I mean, it's just, I just don't think that's a really good situation for our residents. If there's some Joe Schmo's handyman services out there and he does shoddy work and we're allowing him to post, so to drum up business. So I don't know how we would do that, but I think that's something we need to look at as well.
I think that's going to be, I think that's up and above what we are capable of looking into. I mean, that's what I do is I look as best I can to find out where they're located. And I mean, they've been out of county before. So if they're nowhere close, then they're automatically deleted. But to find out whether or not somebody has a license or certified, I'm not sure that's really for us.
And you don't want to start doing that, because once you start doing that, you take on to yourself the obligation to do that.
And one of the things that I do for the other page that I manage is when I do share that kind of information, I always make sure that I just say, this is for your information, like FYI, like I'm not saying go do this thing. I don't promote it. I'm just like, here's something to look at, basically, and I agree with you. We don't want to get into that kind of thing, but it kind of comes back to the idea of getting some more control over what's posted, which I think we'll talk about that at the next meeting, but I think that we need to either change the format or change how we let things get on there, because, you know, the mayor's right. There's a lot of stuff that ends up on there that, you know, people are just trying to sell stuff. I mean, you can see when people ask to be in the group and they live in, you know, East Chapeepee, and you're like, well, why do you want to be in the group? And you let them in. Next thing you know, they're selling something, you know, so, you know.
And maybe there's a line that states, you know, businesses that are, you know, or if you or we are not held liable for any type of action, if you so choose to contact a business or something. I mean, it's got to be a little cleaner than that, but the town is not liable for.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, it's already there.
Okay, good.
There's language in item 6 on visitor guidelines that says, you know, we don't imply endorsement of or agreement by or reflect the opinions of the management, sort of thing. So we've got some of that already in there, right there.
All right. I think that covers it then, Terry.
I got two quick things, since I took time to read through this and mark it up. I want to get it out there.
Get it out.
Under the administrators, we're currently, it's Neil and Kim, and we had discussed and talked about adding Kalina. So just give that some thought as well. I think that would be a good step to take. I think she would do a good job and would be interested in doing it and is hands-on at the office there. And then under operational guidelines, number 1, I just need clarification on something, because I'm probably stupid to this stuff too, but somebody tell me what the right to impose viewpoint neutral limits on topics means. That's a legal question.
It's a legal question that doesn't have a clear answer like every other legal question doesn't have. You've got to be careful, especially as the government, in doing anything that can be perceived to be censoring a point of view. So that's what the phrase viewpoint neutral means. You could say, for example, let me think of an example. We are, so you're not taking sides. Let's say there was a vegetarian restaurant in town, which would not stay in business more than a week. But if there were a vegetarian restaurant in New Windsor and they wanted to post things like meat is murder, I think that you have to be careful not to just silence them if you let the barbecue joint say meat is good. But I think you could take out meat is murder and let them say vegetables are great, so long as the meat guy says meat is great and the vegetable guy says vegetables are great. That's that's sort of a new viewpoint neutral decision on your part. It's one of those things like pornography. You know it when you see it. But it's really hard to define. And that's you got to be careful across the board. Like jurisdictions have run into problems limiting political signs, for example, and stuff like that, because they're not viewpoint neutral statutes. So lawyers for jurisdictions throw viewpoint neutral in. So everybody knows that we're good. It's sort of virtue signaling on a really small scale.
Okay, thanks.
This is Clerk Albin here. I just have a quick point, and I'm kind of going with Michelle on this. This is not my forte, but my question is on the town website, under the business listings, we have always limited it to in-town businesses. So does that have to be changed as well when we start?
I don't think so. I mean, I think there's a distinction between listing the businesses within the corporate limits of the town and accepting comments about other businesses in the vicinity, in the region, in the area, whatever you would want to say. If you said, here are all the businesses in the vicinity, all the businesses that serve the New Windsor Western Carroll region and you only listed businesses in the town, I think that could be a problem. But if you say, here are the businesses within the town and you list those businesses, you don't have to say Stambaugh out at flood zone or Trevor, who's both of their ears are ringing and they don't know why. Or because they're not in the town. And that's what that list on your website is, in the town.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I'll
think
make
that's okay.
sure.
All right. Everybody take a little better, closer look at it, and we'll have it on the agenda for the work session.
All right.
Gary.
And I'll play
if you-
around with that one, those
All right.
couple of sections that we talked about.
And Gary or Donna, if you can make a note for the May 17th, 2021 work session, that if there's any new elected officials, they're not bozos.
I was
Any,
going to put that in the definition section, but I refrained.
All right. Any
Neil,
any
have
other
me
old
going.
business?
I'm writing May 21st, 2021. I'm writing notes down. Scratch that one out.
Any other old business? Any new business? Any residents' concerns? All right, announcements. Trick or treat is Saturday, October 31st, 6 to 8 p.m. Carroll County government just came out with some guidelines. Basically, they're following CDC protocol, and also the safety, flashlights and that sort of thing, watch traffic. The New Windsor Lions Club will have trunk or treat on the community meeting room parking lot. St. Paul is going to have trunk or treat on their parking lot. I will be posting something on Facebook here shortly. Some of the newsletters went out, had Friday, October 30th. Kalina corrected it. That was because of a little confusion that the Lions Club usually has the Halloween party on Friday evening, the 30th, which would have been, the 30th this year. But since we're not there, the Lions aren't having it. I just thought they would do something, separate, but it just made more sense later than to have it all one night. So that's on me, wasn't on Kalina or anybody. So hopefully everybody will get the message that it's we're gonna have trick or treat on Saturday, October 31st, 6 to 8 p.m.
Mayor, are you going to share the safety guidelines?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, because a lot of the information that the county had, I really could cut a lot of it out. It was more opinions of why they're doing it and different things. So, but we'll take a look at I'll take a look at CDC and go with that. And then also National Safety Council is usually where I go for the safety tips on Halloween trick-or-treating. So it's, check your candy and everything and that sort of thing. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. Had a great meeting. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, I beat you, Dave.
I don't know. I'm giving Huffman that one. We have a motion by Councilman. Oh, wait a minute. Before we do, I do have one thing. In the CARES Act, we have until what, the 14th, is it, Gary?
Yeah, I think it's what's the 14th? Next Wednesday, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's the 14th.
Okay. If you can think of anything that on your committee, Public Works, Safety, even Brian, if you can think of anything that we could use to improve, services in any way, shape, or form that has been caused by COVID-19, it has to be COVID-19 related, up and above what was in our budget and everything. Let Gary know by Friday, Monday at the latest, if you can think of anything. I know Gary has a list already, and I'll be talking with him just in case there's something else that we can think of. But anything, I mean, it's money out there that we can use to improve town hall, public works, cleaning supplies, that sort of thing. So let Gary know as soon as possible. And Gary is familiar with the regulations. I'm familiar. I've been doing it at school through the Carroll County Health Department. And there's things that, they will not approve if it's not COVID-19 necessitated, basically.
So two things on that I'm going to probably request increases to is the cameras for town hall, and also the not the laptops, but the tablets for council. So I think I have some numbers now for both of those that are a little better budget numbers that are over what we had originally put in for our request. So I'm going to ask for that additional on those two items, at least off the top of my head right now.
Okay. So, it's a CARES Act money, and let's take advantage of it. We were probably, not that we, didn't have, or we didn't have a good idea of what we needed, but we were, I think, conservative, and a lot of municipalities put in for a lot more. Now, of course, they have police departments too, so, and bigger town halls and bigger staff. So, but while it's available, we have to spend it by December 31st, but, let Gary know as soon as possible if you can think of anything. Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Smith, second by Councilman Huffman, and I'll even let Councilwoman Schultz in on it. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor, raise your hand. All 5 council members and the town manager, raise their hand. So moved. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night and be safe.
Hi, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Night.
Right.